Good morning. Welcome to the Takeover. I'm your host, Khisha brij'on, along with the king of LA sports, Richard Lopez. And if you are in need of your daily dose of sports, we are here to feed your addiction. How are you doing this morning?
Feeling good. Ready to have my addiction fulfilled.
Okay, well, I think I can handle that for you.
Let's do this.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Today, we're going to discuss the NBA playoffs, how the series are matching up, and who are our, scoring leaders, who's hot and who's not. Yeah. Which would you like to start off in, the East or the West?
Oh, we're starting in the East, and we're starting with the most physical series in all these playoffs.
So you have to be talking about the Heat and the Bulls.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Heat and the Bulls by far. This game, Game 2 got very physical in Miami, so right away they came out playing physical, and the referees, they weren't having it. Mm-hmm. They were calling fouls left and right.
A little too many.
Yeah, a little too many, but there wasn't anything too serious that happened. Mm-hmm. Like we had that one shove of Nazir Muhammad on LeBron James, which I love, by the way. Yeah, I loved. So, he had that one shove and was really for nothing. He got a technical foul. LeBron had the technical.
He got tossed out.
Yeah, and then Muhammad got tossed out, but I mean, really, what's Muhammad going to do for that team?
Yeah, well, you are right. The series has been very physical. They already have 12 techs between the two teams. The Bulls have 3 ejections already. So I guess all the fouls that the refs are calling is just their way of trying to keep the game under control. The
Heat actually won 104-94 on Friday night. And they play again tonight.
Surprising that they did so well with limited help from Wade. I know he's coming off that bruised knee injury, and if I'm not mistaken, he's averaging 8 points less than he normally does in the regular season. So he's only averaging about 13 points and 5 rebounds in the postseason. So it's interesting that they're able to push along without him.
Yeah, actually, he took 7 shots in the last game, which is a career low for him, and he basically said after the game, he just was trying to get everyone else looks, and don't look for that to happen again, because Dwayne Wade he will get his looks. He said he's a grown man. He'll find his looks when it comes time. So I believe him. He's got 2 NBA titles, and he was a big part of both of those.
I agree. So what do you think the Bulls will need in order to maybe steal a game in Miami or keep the series going a little bit longer?
Well, first of all, they need Noah to keep playing the way he's playing. That's the first thing. Like, they're going to need other guys to step up. But Noah, he's been doing his part. He had 15 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. It was the first time any Bulls player has done that since the greatest player of all time, Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, in 1997, had 34 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals, and 3 blocks in one game versus the Atlanta Hawks. But to answer your question, I think Jimmy Butler or Marco Bellinelli need to step up. Bellinelli needs to start hitting those threes. He's having a hard time with Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade is just, it's hard for him to keep up with him. But Bellinelli needs to start hitting his threes, and Jimmy Butler needs to start making LeBron work on defense. Okay. He's very streaky, and I think he'll be able to, if he gets streaky in the right time, they'll be able to move, at least win some more games. I still think the Heat win this. They're too talented.
I definitely think the Heat will take the series when it comes down to it. But I think in order for the Bulls to stay, they need to stay physical, but they need to keep their composure. Keep their emotions under control, because the Heat don't like it when you rough them up. You see how when Muhammad roughed up LeBron, it kind of threw him off his game a little bit. Yeah. So they're not used to that. So you need to keep that physicality going. But they also need to find a way to make easy buckets, get transitional shots. Yeah. If they can do that, then they have a good chance of extending the series, maybe to 7. Yeah. But they definitely have to stay physical. It would be a lot easier if they weren't plagued with all these injuries, like with Rose and Dang and Hendrick. But you have to work with what you have. So
I admire the Bulls and the fight they're putting up, but I just think it's going to be too much. But hey, give them credit. I'm not counting them out.
I'm not either.
So they still have a good chance. So moving on with the other East Coast semifinal.
Okay, that was the Indiana Pacers versus the New York Knicks.
Yes, sir.
And wow, Indiana's defense shut down New York.
Oh, they shut them down.
Shut them down in that 82-71 win they had over the Knicks. And I haven't seen a defensive game that good in a long time.
Their head coach, Frank Vogel, is well known for his defensive capabilities. And all those guys, you really see there's no true superstars, but all of them they play their role and they do what they're told. They said David West, I know I've said this before, but he's that leader in the locker room, and they say he doesn't even have to talk. Like, people just,
he just has that presence.
Yeah, his presence, like his actions speak louder than his words, and people respect him. And that's, you got to have leaders like that, and there's no real egos in there. And they all can ball. They're all balling right now.
Yes, yes,
and
they
the Knicks are in big trouble. If they can't figure it out, they're going to be gone.
It was just really surprising to me because the Knicks have people on their squad who are known for their physical play, such as Kenyon Martin. However, they had no answer for Hibbert or David West, who clogged up the paint in that game. And not only did they play great defensively, they contributed some offense. Both of those players had double-doubles. West had 11 points, 12 rebounds. Hibbert had 24 points, 12 rebounds. So they contributed on both ends of the court, which is, when you can do that, it's hard to shut the Pacers down when they do that.
And everyone was hyping up Stoudemire making his comeback, but he really didn't do much. I think he had 8 points. And he didn't do much. Him and Carmelo don't really work well together, so they were not on the same. They weren't on the court at the same time, and the Knicks are in trouble. If they can't figure something out, they're going to make an early second-round exit from this postseason.
They just might. Like you said, Stoudemire needs to bring it up. He only had the 7 points, playing about 9 minutes. Carmelo, he did okay. He had 21 points, but he also had 4 turnovers.
Yeah.
They had 4 turnovers, and he missed his last 7 shots that he took. So he's going to need to be, if he wants to be that go-to player, he's going to have to make those shots in the clutch. The 6th man didn't show up. J.R. Smith, I understand that he said he had a fever, 102,
he didn't look
that
too
he
well.
was, kind of sick, but you played 24 minutes and you contributed 9 points. Not acceptable, especially when you're the 6th man, of the NBA. So they need to do that, and they need to find their 3-point shot again. That was like their regular season weapon. It's non-existent, or it was non-existent. They were only 3 from 11 from the 3-point line that game. But I kind of blame the coach, because Coach Woodson, love him to death, he didn't put in his 3-point makers or 3-point players until it was too late.
You got to give the Indiana coach credit, because they're blocking. Woodson's recognizing that the Pacers are blocking their 3-point attempts. They're selling out to block the 3-point attempts, because that's how the Knicks win. So they're making them shoot in the paint. And so that's what's going on right there. And Woodson's not putting his 3-point coaches in, or 3-point shooters in, because they're not going to get attempts, because the Pacers are completely neutralizing that. They're having their guys play at the 3-point line, and they're giving them the shots in the paint. The problem is they're not capitalizing. Yeah, they're not capitalizing. A lot of them like the big 3-pointers and to get the crowd hype, and it's not working. You're going to have to play real basketball if you want to beat the Pacers. So the sooner the Knicks figure that out, the better off they'll be. But it's not looking too good for them. Well, moving on, like we got in the West. Go to the West Coast.
Okay, so at the West Coast, let's start off with the Memphis and OKC game.
Let's start off. Save the best for last.
Save the best for
last. We'll start off with the Memphis Grizzlies. They took a 2-1 lead over the Oklahoma City Thunder, and what do you think about the game?
Well, I think that a lot has fallen on Kevin Durant's shoulders now that Westbrook is gone, and he's accepted the challenge, but he can't do it by himself. He needs other people to step up and hit shots, especially when they make that switch up and they put Marc Gasol on him, because Marc Gasol is a very physical player, so he needs help from his other players, from the bench. He had 23 points in the first 3 quarters, but only had 2 in the fourth, and he missed 2 pivotal free throws in the fourth quarter. So it's a lot for him to take on. He's doing his part. He's doing what he can do, but, he needs help. He needs help from Ibaka. He needs help from Fisher. He needs some type of help if they want to win the next game.
If you look at this game, numbers-wise, you would think, oh, the Thunder beat the Grizzlies. The Thunder did everything they needed. Durant even said they did everything they needed to do to win. They just didn't make shots. They out-rebounded the Grizzlies 51-44. They outscored the Grizzlies 44-30 in the paint. And Durant had 25 points and 11 rebounds, which is kind of a slow game for him. He's usually putting up his 35 points. And Memphis is another well-coached team.
Yes.
And they know how to neutralize Durant. And the problem is with the Thunder before, when you had Westbrook and Durant, you had to pick or choose. Now they focus in on Durant. But if you want to look at a bright spot for the Thunder, Reggie Jackson, who's Russell Westbrook's replacement, he's registered his first double-double of his career with 16 points and 10 rebounds. And with the Oklahoma City Thunder, taking a 7-game series to them is not foreign territory. Like they're built for that. They got the young talent.
The Grizzlies
and
are
they've been
too,
there.
though, because the past couple of years they've been taking it to 7, especially in the first round. The Clippers this year and last year, so they're no strangers to 7-game series as well. So it'd be interesting to see. To me, it was kind of interesting to see that Memphis pulled it off without, a great or stellar performance from their big man, Zach Randolph, who only scored 14 points, or Mike Conley. They both only actually scored 14 points. So the fact that they still won that game was like, wow.
Yeah. Okay. And Kendrick Perkins, have you heard anything about him this series?
No.
He's been ice cold for the Thunder. And Thabo Cephalosha, he's also been
Nobody's showing up except for Kevin Durant. He's the only one showing up.
He needs help, and he's clearly stating it. His quote was, "We did everything but make shots," and that's what happened. Like, I really, watching the game, the Thunder outplayed them. They just didn't score, but you got to credit the Grizzlies with that defense. So, yeah, it looks like the West Coast is shaping up to be a pretty good, like both couple of series. So. Yeah, but give credit to Marc Gasol. He's been stepping up in these playoffs.
He definitely has.
Yeah.
I think little brother is outplaying big brother definitely now.
Yeah.
He's shining. This is time to shine.
Let's hope maybe he can get a ring. Marc Gasol.
No, I can't go for them because they beat the Clippers.
Hey, you got to look at it from this way. Like, wouldn't you want to lose to the defending champions? That's the only, you don't want to go out against someone that gets blown out in the next round.
Well, that's true, but I think I'll stick with Golden State since they're the only the only California team we have left. So I'm rooting for them.
Yeah, I'm going for Golden State. Hopefully the King will get a call one day from people at Oracle Arena to come up there and report. So I would love to be in that place.
And speaking of which, I think that they are bringing the most exciting series to date. You would think because the Spurs are so fundamentally sound that the series would be kind of boring, but it has been anything but. 3 overtimes. Another one in Friday, was it Fridays or Saturdays game? But awesome series.
Yes.
I'm absolutely loving the David and Goliath, the little brother, big brother that's passed the torch,
the Warriors
series they have going on.
They won 97-87 on Sunday. And yeah, it was a good game. The one who really stepped up was Harrison Barnes. We were talking earlier how Harrison Barnes was 5 years old.
Right, when Duncan was drafted. Right.
So this is the typical veteran team against the team that's up and coming. And a lot of people think the Golden State is that next team. Like when the Thunder came out of nowhere, Golden State is that team led by Stephen Curry.
Yes.
They, their youth movement is ridiculous. I think the oldest player on the team is Jared Jack, and he's not even that old. And he's an emotional leader for that team. Like I said earlier, Harris Barnes, he had 26 points, and 11 of them coming in the fourth quarter and overtime. So he was one of the main reasons why they won. And Stephen Curry, he had a decent game. I think he put up 22 points. So did you enjoy the game? Did it excite you?
It excited me.
It sure did.
It was just, I don't know. I wasn't expecting this series to be that good. And just the determination that the Warriors have is it's great. Like you said, Stephen Curry, he didn't have a great game. It's probably an excellent game for other players, but for him to have 22 points, it's not that fantastic. But the fact that Barnes and Jack stepped up to the plate, like you said, Barnes with 26 points, Jack actually had 24 points with 7 rebounds. So they're getting help. I love the way that they gather, and if one is weak, somebody else steps up to the plate and takes over.
I haven't seen one person in that starting lineup that hasn't stepped up. Andrew Bogut stepped up huge last night for them. He had a monster game. He had 18 rebounds, and that was critical because he was doing a good job on Duncan. Duncan quietly had a decent game for the Spurs. He had 19 points with 15 rebounds, but an interesting note with that, he tied Shaq for third most in NBA history, behind Will and Magic for the most points. That's the most time he's had most double doubles.
Okay.
So he tied
the series.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Spurs, they did okay. I mean, they put up decent numbers. Ginobili had 21 points, 3 steals, as you said. Tim Duncan double-double, 19 points, 15 rebounds. Parker 17 points. But they only shot 56% from the free throw line, as to where the Warriors shot. They were 20 for 25. And Parker, Duncan, and Ginobili, they only combined for 11 points in the fourth quarter and overtime. You're not going to get it done with that young team. Just
they got
putting up those numbers.
Too much firepower there.
Right.
I really started becoming interested when Mark Jackson made it a point, and he said, Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson are the best backcourt in NBA history. Once he said that, they all were delivering like on a basis, and they are a great shooting team.
They're a great shooting team.
And they're young.
And they believe in their coach. I think they buy into whatever Mark Jackson is telling them on, in the locker rooms and on that sideline when this time's out, when there's a timeout or whatever, they're buying into it. And they're playing like, we can take this all. We can go all the way. And it's a great thing to see.
I used to love it when Mark Jackson would go off when Kobe Bryant was going off. He'd be like, "Mama, there goes that man." Oh, that was great. But yeah, it looks like this is a 2-2 now, and it's going to go back to San Antonio. There's going to be one more game at Oracle Arena, so they're excited about that. Do you think Golden State can go in and steal one in San Antonio?
Well, they have before, so
They
I don't
have
see
before.
why. And they actually had the opportunity to steal two.
Yeah, they
that
did.
first game, that game one, it was theirs to lose, and they lost that game. The Spurs did not win game one. The Warriors handed it to them.
Oh, they said, "Here you go.
So, right.
Here's a gift."
So, yes, I definitely believe that they have the capability of going in there and stealing one of the games and possibly winning the series. But
That's my call. I think they know each other enough now to where it's going to come down to who can execute better. And I think the Golden State Warriors are going to be a lot quicker. They're going to be faster. They're going to know what's coming. They're going to anticipate what's coming. And their youth and speed will take them over the Spurs, because the Spurs have been known to slow down a little bit.
well, yeah, they're more of a fundamentally sound team, but because of that, you can't count them out.
No,
though.
yeah, of course not.
They're a veteran team. They've been here before. They've been in this situation before, so they'll know how to pull themselves up by the bootstraps, so to speak, and execute when they need to execute and win a game if they need to win it. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens.
I'm so excited to see it.
Me too.
It's going to be
Me
great.
too.
I'm going to be cheering. And just as a basketball fan, these playoffs, you got to love it. There's everything you need. Great games, physicality, emotion, drama, like everything you want is there. So I can't wait. I can't wait for this to be over.
We can't wait.
Can't wait.
Well,
So,
that is all that we have for you today regarding the NBA playoffs. You can catch me on YouTube at Khisha brij'on.
And you can catch me on my YouTube channel. Let me get my camera spot. Where am I at? All right. You can catch me on my YouTube channel, The King of LA Sports. Catch me on my Twitter, Rich Lopez, KOLASE. You can catch me on Instagram, The King of LA Sports. And that is it. I want everybody to have a great day.
Well, we thank you very much for watching The Takeover, and until next time, may the sports be with you.
And don't be afraid to roll the dice.